Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Angels of Death, episode 11. When we last left off, Rachel had left Zack behind in order to meet up with Gray for one final confrontation in order to get the medicine that Gray had apparently taken from Danny, but this led to Gray to get out the pink smoke again to have the spirits of all of the previous Four Masters confront Rachel in this gigantic witch trial where the odds were very clearly stacked in favor of Gray. And after all three previous Four Masters got done, Gray announced that Ray was absolutely hard, in fact, a witch, and the evidence was perfect, and stuck her on a cross with magic and set the room on fire. That's where we begin. And before we start discussing the episode proper, I'd like to remind everyone that I have my straw poll up for the fall 2018 anime reviews. It'll be in the description below. It is how I started doing this series. If you want me to see me do more weird series like this in the next season, be sure to vote for them in the video in the description below. You know what I mean. So, on to the episode itself. I just want to talk about at the beginning, just kind of, there's been a lot of Catholic imagery throughout the series, but especially in this arc. But it's always been kind of surface level. There's the vague bits of, Catholicism has a lot of focus on confession, and she walks to the confession booth when she first encounters the purple gas or pink gas or whatever color it is. But it's never really been quite as the confession aspect of Catholicism mixes in with her guilt about what happened to Zack. But it's never really been quite as clear as the scene with Rachel on the cross. Because it really... I'm not saying Rachel's going to turn out to be some kind of Jesus figure, though maybe, as she's leading Zack into salvation, she kind of is. But, we both have... we have Rachel on the cross and Zack... and not Zack. Rachel on the cross and Jesus fucking Christ on the cross. And they're both, accused of crimes they did not commit. In Rachel's case, it's being a witch. In Jesus' case, I think the actual reasons were, trying to overthrow the emperor, which is not what he was doing. And, in both cases, religious authorities, either Gray or the Pharisees, in Jesus' case, stand over them and, lead this mockery of a trial in order to condemn them. And I think I'm not quite sure what exactly the show is going for with that, given that I don't really, again, maybe if they're trying to show Rachel as a savior figure for Zack, especially given how it seems like she'll have, her current plan is to die so that Zack can, escape and live. So I don't know. I'm hoping as we get into the final arc, which I imagine is going to have a lot on Rachel's past. It's been hidden from us for the past 11 episodes. There'll be a bit more of a crystallization on whether or not they're doing a, Rachel is a Jesus figure metaphor. But after that, I spent a lot of time on the first minute of the episode. But after that, we have Gray declaring himself God. And I think there's a bit of irony there, because Gray is, as far as we can tell, a Catholic priest. And if you know anything about Catholic priests, not only do they not believe they are God, they are inherently, near the very bottom of the totem pole. Priests are higher than, lay people, but, as far as Catholic authority figures go, priests are the bottom. It's like deacons, who are, training priests, and then priests. And bishops and archbishops and cardinals and the Pope. So yeah, there's a lot of irony in the Catholic priest declaring himself God. And so after that, Rachel, as she's in despair, she just sees no way out of getting burned alive for being a witch, and tempting people into darkness, which is not at all what happened, but whatever. I feel as I was watching this, I was really I knew that, Gray was just saying whatever to kill Rachel, but I was another part of me was what the fuck are you talking about? Not really comprehending that he knew he was lying. I thought for some base part of my brain thought that Gray believed the bullshit he was spewing when he very much was not, and it's very much part of the point of the show of the episode that he doesn't believe anything besides himself. But then Rachel has these visions, and at the end she sees Zack and she reaches for Zack, and Zack disappears to just being the scythe and some bandages, and Rachel grabs onto the bandages. And I really like the metaphor there that even if Zack's not there, he's still why Rachel is doing everything. At this point, it also just completely blows everything Gray said out of the water once again, because she's not doing this for herself. She's doing this to help Zack get out of here. Not only, in the short term, getting the medicine and saving Zack, but also, helping him leave the building. And more on building theories later, because the last scene gives a whole lot. But after Ray has the bit where she grabs the bandage, she sees Zack from behind in the vision a little bit more, and then she wakes up off the cross, clutching the knife as the room continues to burn around her. And my first thought was that while she was in that vision state, she cut through her metal bindings with the knife. I was loving that. Then I was like, oh, right, it's just a hallucination. I'm dumb. So yeah, it was a hallucination. She was never on the cross to begin with, and everything of the past episode episode and a half was all kind of in her head. I still imagine though that Gray was very much in control of this. I don't want to go on the argument that everything Rachel saw was her own self-guilt. I think it was very much Gray manipulating the gas somehow. Though I did say last week that I thought that Danny was real in that whole bit. Judging by this episode and how Danny is nowhere to be seen, I think he's fake. I think he was fake last time. And then if he shows up again, given that he is still around, and he probably will, because we still have 5 episodes left of content, and it just seems like we're so close to the end. Honestly, I can see, in the next episode or so, we get Rachel's past interspersed with, figuring out exactly what's going on in the first basement. I already have some pretty good ideas. And I could see episode 13 being a finale after that. But no, there are 5 episodes, and I can't wait to see them, because again, I love the show. I still love the show. But yeah, she wakes up. Back to the episode proper. She wakes up, and Gray's like, oh no, that didn't work, you woke up. And he's like, and he goes on this long monologue about how, oh, it's a shame I couldn't purify the witch, yada, yada, yada. And Rachel's like, points the knife at me like, give me the fucking medicine. I just want the fucking medicine. And good on Rachel. Good on Rachel. And so Gray, weirdly enough, and this is the bit that's kind of weird, he just says, alright, I've lost, takes her to the medicine cabinet, correctly points out what the medicine is, not even any trick to try to get Rachel to kill Zack or anything, and sends her on her merry way. But before he does that, he makes some comment about, says something, he mentions God again, but it's in quotes in the subs, and I'm really tired because I've had a really long day, and I can't remember the exact line, even though I just watched it half an hour ago. But is when he's in the medicine cabinet, and he's like, something about the one called God, and it's really, it's clear, he starts talking about it again, he starts talking again about how God wouldn't like that, after he spent, this whole episode saying, God's fake, I'm God. And Rachel's like, no, Zack's God, which is a whole thing, that we're gonna get into when we bring Zack back into the picture. But Grace drops all of the you or your God or me and all that stuff, and starts talking about God again as an individual person. And I'm kind of curious, I think the line's who knows what that God will do. And is there who is on the first floor, on the first basement? Because every other floor we've gone to, we've had a picture of them in the key visual. In the if you're on Verve, it's the poster that you click on it and you go to the show. And we had Danny, and then Eddie, and then Kathy, and then Gray in the background. And now we don't have anyone. And so I don't know where exactly to go with this. So who is Gray calling God? I imagine it's whoever the first floor master is going to be, and who's the real like god of the building. So I really hope we're getting answers on the building. Again, I have some theories. When we actually reach the first basement, because holy shit, I think I know where we are. Um, first I thought it was a big holy shit thing in the post credit scene. Practically revealed it. So I was kind of disappointed in how transparent the post credit scene was. I thought it was like gonna have some brilliant theory, and then like, nope, I was right the whole time. All right. But before we get to that, I will get to that. I promise. There's a lot of stuff going on in this episode. Um, we finally go back to Zack, and for good this time. No more, he's there but half dead. And as much as I've liked the usage of the ways they've used injured Zack, have all been pretty clever. You know, with him, like fighting past the pain whenever Rachel needs it, and then immediately feeling the pain again has always been good to see. And just getting to see Rachel on her own, like struggling with the world, has been great. But it's gone on a tad too long. He spent, almost a third of the series' eventual total runtime, and almost half the series so far, like, practically dead. And I'm glad that hopefully, even if, Gray's willingness to give Rachel the medicine and Zack immediately springing up as soon as he's sewed together is a little bit not true to life, I'm more than happy to have a bit of, stretching the imagination in order to get Zack finally back into the fray. And I've also, their banter is at the best it's been in eons. I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Rachel and Zack make this show. Specifically them together. They're such a fun pair. It's always great to see their, weird interactions. Especially, when Rachel starts, boasting about her sewing skills. And Zack's like, I'm not a damn shirt. A+. And then Rachel reveals that she sees Zack as her god. And Zack's so, embarrassed about that. It's so cute. I just love them so much. But after all that sweetness, they track down the elevator to the first floor, find it with relative ease because no one's really bothering them anymore. And as they go up, while Rachel had been sewing Zack together, she noticed, burn marks on his chest. And she asks him, how did you get those? And he reveals it super quickly. Which is more than Rachel could say after the end of this episode when we find out that she is hiding all sorts of shit from Zack. More on that in a minute. Let me get through this real fast. So first, we see a bit of Zack's face. Not the eyes, but we've already kind of seen the eyes under his bandages. And his face is so normal. It's like his face has been bandaged the whole time. I kind of figured there was something big on his face. I figured if they were ever going to show us his face, and him looking like a mummy or some random kooky anime character design, that it would be something big. But no, it's borderline Kakashi in its casual reveal. It's just a face, just a regular old face. But then he brings up that the guy the woman who gave birth to me was seeing. It's a very particular term. This shows he really does not like his mother whatsoever. I know people who use terms like that, and there are people who hate that parent. But that's the guy. So the man, the woman, his mother. Fuck. The guy, the man, the woman who gave birth to him was seeing. Apparently, for whatever fucking reason, tried to burn him alive because he's a dick, I guess. But he survived and bit off a piece of his flesh because he's Zack and he does that shit. And that's how I got the bandages. And that is not the guy from Zack's earlier flashbacks. So I had seen it said around that the people in Zack's first flashbacks were his parents. I think this flashback kind of blows that away. His first kills, I mean. Because, so he mentions that after the burning, his mother gave him away to some orphanage or someplace, gave him away. And I'm assuming that's where we first see Zack's flashbacks. So yeah, I think that, but just this boy's been through so much. He has been through so much. he just deserves better. He deserves happiness, and he deserves it not killing Rachel. Let's be honest. Rachel does not deserve to die either, and she's also, well, we'll see what happens with this final arc. Because I have a feeling there are some big evil Rachel revelations coming that she can't tell Zack. But after this, we start to see the clearest flashback we've had yet of Rachel's past. And it's a man with his knife in a woman's, breasts. And I'm assuming that's Rachel's parents. And the murder Rachel's mentioned that she's witnessed was her father killing her mother. That's my first guess. Not entirely sure what exactly to take with that until we get more context in the coming weeks. Hopefully that will be coming, given that, there are still 5 episodes. That's plenty of time to give us context for our heroine. But yeah. But before we and she starts thinking there's something relating to that she can't tell Zack that becomes incredibly apparent, incredibly important, when they open up on the final basement, and Rachel recognizes it. Because, and it hasn't been officially stated yet, but it's pretty much obvious. And I the second I saw it, I was like, shit. Because at first, it just looks like, it looked like you can tell just looking in, it's meant to be like a house. And I was like, it's Rachel's house. And yeah, we see the blood on the floor. And Zack is following the blood because he has learned to follow blood trails now. Nice bit of character development. What's that GIF? That's called growth, I think it's called. I don't know. That's what's going through my mind right now. Because remember, a couple episodes ago, Zack never thought of following the blood to find Danny, and here he is following the blood now. Good on him. To a door. When he follows the blood to a door, that Rachel is frantically thinking in her mind, no, don't open that door, do not open that door, and that's where the episode cuts off. The next episode title is, let me see if I can find it. It's Try to Know Everything About Her, and interestingly enough, the her is capitalized. So the show, as I've said before, and as anyone with eyes has noticed, is very wrapped up in Christian, specifically Catholic imagery. And for those of you who don't know about Christian writing, the only time you really capitalize a third-person pronoun is either the beginning of the sentence, of course, or in reference to God. When you say, praise be to him who gives life, I don't know. The him in that sentence is referring to God, and is capitalized. And so, what does this say about Rachel? We've seen throughout all of the episode titles of the series that it's not afraid to have, unconventional capitalization for titles. Because titles, there are the certain words in titles that you capitalize, and you kind of get a feel for it as you get good at English. And Angels of Death is not giving a shit about any of that. It follows, general sentence capitalization rules. But, here, her is capitalized. So, is Rachel some kind of god figure? Maybe, I mentioned she was like a Jesus figure, or she might end up like a Jesus figure to Zack. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where we go from here. This is the final floor. We finally made it. It took us, a couple months to get to the final floor, but we're here. So many mysteries going to be answered right beyond that door, I imagine. I cannot wait to find out what they are. But I'm going to leave this video up here because I've had a very long day and I'm super fucking tired and it's 1 a.m. in the morning and I have to wake up at 8:30 at the latest, maybe even 8, I don't know. So I'm going to leave all of y'all off here. Hope you all enjoyed the video and the episode. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or vote in that straw poll for more, obscure series like this to get weekly reviews. Or, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass and I'll see you in the future. Bye!